It has been a while. How are you? Good. Great. So happy for you. We're doing another one, folks, and I got bad news. I have no content. So I couldn't think of a better way to start my Tuesday. Well, not start it, but yeah, I mean it's the afternoon, Tuesday afternoon to talk about shit that's just been baking in my brain for a minute. I guess like since this morning because I'm excited to go back and do the podcast and talk to the people of no one. I'm kidding. A few of you are listening and I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. I do, but I'm serious though. Like I don't have any content. I don't even know why I'm recording right now because I haven't watched anything. I literally, this is like the first time in a while that like I just every day I always try to watch at least like an episode or two of a show or catch a movie, just something every day. But I haven't the last few days. It's just been mostly YouTube shit. And one thing that I will say too, because I had a pretty fucking crazy weekend. I had to fix my AC, all sorts of shit, and then my family driving me nuts too. That's always a thing. So yeah, I dealing with all that. It got me thinking too. I I don't know if anybody remembers this, but like I remember the early 2010s of YouTube where seeing so much of it and how much like horrible comedy has gotten out of that like early like early in that decade. Like there's so much horrible comedy that for some reason when I was a kid, like I didn't find it all funny, I wasn't really a huge Shane Dawson fan except for like, if there's like collabs or some shit, with other YouTubers and shit. Like, I was all about the hopeful fucking podcast, especially what got me into the whole iPhone craze was iJustine. God, you remember that? iJustine? Holy shit. What a throwback. Yeah. She's the one that was like got me fucking crazy for iPhones and shit with all of her content. I missed that shit. And I started thinking about it more and I watched like older videos and a lot of the shit doesn't hold up. It except for Smosh. I will say Smosh has had a steady increase and of course there was a decline for sure, especially when Anthony left and whatnot. But yeah, YouTube has had such a fucking crazy journey. And not, I mean the website itself, but like mostly creators and shit like that. And then you got people who think they can say a thing or two on a microphone in a video and post it on YouTube like a psychopath. I don't know who would fucking do that and call it a podcast. Maybe, I don't know, Adam is Chase podcast. Fucking nut job. I never understood why, like, so much of that comedy was always tolerable because, well, not, I mean, I don't know if it was always tolerable, but, like, there was so much shit that happened through that, like, between, like, misogyny, racism, homophobia, I mean, you name it. And it was just like in light of comedy, and don't get me started with Shane Dawson. Holy shit, dude. That was a different time. That was like during, before Philip DeFranco was Sexy Phil. SXC Phil. God, that shit went hard, And I still like, I mean, I marvel at I don't know if I marvel it, but like I always watch shit like that, and I'm just in awe of like how far we've come, especially when it comes to comedy, and how fucked up some of it was. A lot of it was, you know? And in me, I was like getting into high school, so of course like all that shit was just like, par for the course, I guess, like everybody was making that kind of fucking joke everywhere, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna. I probably participate in some stupid ass humor, but like nothing to the level of like early 2010 YouTube, because that shit was crazy. It was absolutely nuts. And I never understood why, because that was the thing. It's like with all the Colleen Ballinger stuff, and then Shane Dawson a few years ago, or I guess like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, since his cancellation. Like the thing that was like the through line was like all of like the like child grooming jokes and whatnot, and pedophilia jokes and whatnot. Yeah, I never understood it, and I never it was always weird to me. It was always fucking weird to me, especially on Vine too. Vine also, holy shit, that was a different time in that Vine time. Vomit out his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. Like, I don't know. Like, I thinking about it, like I enjoy that time, but then as I got older, I just sort of moved away from that, and I just went more into like the podcasting route. Your Mark Marons and Bill Burrs and whatnot. I just moved completely away from YouTube in general. I'm trying to think what got me back. I guess I've always watched YouTube. It's just I watched it in such a small dosage during high school. I don't remember even like browsing around it late high school, early college, and a lot of shit changed since then. a lot of shit. Yeah, I don't know. Like just watching, because what got me thinking about all this truly was watching Smosh again, seeing Smosh come back, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to watch old Smosh and shit. And I did, and I'm fucking blown away by like how that comedy was like everything. It was Smosh. It was Whitest Kids You Know, and Key and Peele. There was a bit of Chappelle Show too, but Key and Peele was like one of the last sketch. No, I take that back. No. Like the most important one, the most influential one that is like part of my comedy DNA's Kroll Show. And that's actually how I got into podcasting. Ironic enough, was Nick Kroll, because watching Kroll Show, like I think I had a Twitter account or something, and in around that time or before that time, I think I was like a junior, maybe a senior in high school when I started my my Twitter account. And I remembered following Nick Kroll, like a bunch of comedians, but Nick Kroll specifically, because I loved Kroll Show, and his stand-up was awesome. Thank You Very Cool was like one of my favorite stand-up specials. And I remembered like he posted something like a link to the Nerdist podcast. He was like, I'm on this podcast. I'm like, podcast? The fuck? It's like, is that what old people listen to and shit? And then I listened to the episode and I realized like how fun it was. And then I discovered like Chris Hardwick with the Nerdist, and Jonah Ray and Matt Myra, and listening to all those like episodes, and Bill Burr and Marin, of course, it just like YouTube was sort of like something just merely in the distance. And then, yeah, I guess like a few years later, coming back to it. It felt like only like a couple of years, maybe a few years, no more than 5. It's like the whole entire website fucking changed like overnight. It's so crazy. Is it part of cancel culture? I mean, I don't know. It's left to be decided. I feel like with much more accessibility to internet and in how you communicate with like creators and whatnot, I feel like there's a bigger a bigger online presence that dictate, whether or not you're a good person or a bad person. And justifiably so in a lot of circumstances. Some more than others, I will say, for sure, depending on who you're talking to with who got canceled and whatnot. But it always just like struck a chord with me, with that early YouTube and then seeing like people like Shane Dawson get canceled. I was shocked, but also like not surprised at the same time, because the reason why I wasn't shocked was that like I knew how fucked up it was and I knew how weird it got. Like, I forgot the character Shane did, but he did a character that made me so fucking uncomfortable. I can't remember what, but it's like Shane Dawson like did a character who cross dresses as a woman, but like she wore like scarves or some shit like that, and she had like blonde hair, and he talked through his teeth all the time. He just like talked like this, like, oh yeah, and I forgot what that character name is, but like that's how removed I was from like people like Shane Dawson, because seeing that and going to school and having people say like, oh my God, did you watch Shane's last video? That shit was hilarious. And I'm like, that shit was not funny at all. I never got it. I never got that comedy, but I was also into like weird fucking sketch shit, like sketch comedy and whatnot. Like one of my favorite ones right now that kind of reminds me, it's like a bit reminiscent of Whitest Kids You Know is maybe not, but it's definitely in that vein of just cringy, but it's like purposefully over the top, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's just darker for sure. It's just like darker comedy, and that's what I was drawn to the most, aside from, the Kroll show, was I Think You Should Leave. And that sketch show, I mean, it came out like a few years ago, but like it super reminds me of like old, Whitest Kids You Know. I know somebody's going to disagree with me on that, but that's fine. I understand. I just enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. But yeah, I mean, that was basically, oh, you remember Totally Sketch too? I watched a few of those videos. I don't know if any of those people have been I hope not. I remember watching Nice Peter before Epic Rap Battles of History. That was awesome. Nice Peter was like, I loved all of his vlogs and stuff and his music and whatnot. Like, I was more of a Nice Peter fan than I was a Bo Burnham fan, to be honest. I know, but like Bo Burnham's a gifted filmmaker, but like Nice Peter, I felt like just kind of got lost in the. I mean, I guess he just does epic rap battles, right? So, actually, I don't know. I hope he's alive. Somebody check on Nice Peter for me, please, so I know it's. I'll do it right after the podcast, and then I'll put out an apology video. I am so sorry. I didn't know Nice Peter was still relevant. I'm kidding. No, of course he's always relevant. His songs fucking still slap, too. I just don't know why I don't see him as often as I did. Although, I will say YouTube has changed with its recommendations, like, by a huge fucking margin. Because in the early 2010s, it was like, you see the heavy hitters of YouTube at the front page all the time, regardless of the comedy, it was like before Adpocalypse and all that shit. It was like you see all those videos. And I I discovered a lot. Like I discovered H3 and whatnot, and that was. But I got more into the podcast side than I did on the his proper with his wife on their proper channel. But yeah, I was always a fan of like channels like Totally Sketch and all that, and Hi, I'm Ron. I used to watch him too all the time. Yeah, yeah, that was like, fuck. That's such a different time now. And shit has changed dramatically. um, and yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like with all these cancellations, lately, I guess a lot of time, I mean, most of the time they are absolutely deserved because there are plenty of people like, just as like recent as like Super Mega. Like there's so many YouTubers that I'm just like, oh, like you guys too? Like what the fuck? I thought you guys were just like weird. It's like, no, they're actually just a little too weird. Like Icarus, they just flew too close to the weird sun, And then they and they proclaimed that, all their comedy and everything has been amounted up to a magnum opus. If anybody watches Super Mega, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a fan. I only watched a few of their videos over the years, and yeah, seeing a lot of this, like it gives me hope that a lot more victims of horrible abuse like that give way to come forward to any fucking horrible circumstances that any of these victims have gone through and speak about it and have a public platform that, supports them and gives them a little bit of, I mean, I don't know how much security you can really get from the internet, but at least enough that you have enough people to back them up and whatnot, and it seemed like a lot did with the Super Mega, what's his name? Don and Lex Updog. Yeah, like it's just, and even like Colleen Ballinger too. And I didn't really watch much of that. I never watched what's her name? Natalie Sings or no? Miranda Sings. Miranda Sings. Yeah, I never got into that. I think that was like for the younger audiences. I wasn't jiving with that. But it was always just so like fucking strange to see shit like that, and people got away with it even as far as like recently. I feel like in the last 5 years, it's like there's been, I'd imagine there have been like an uptick of dudes getting educated and being like, hey, don't be a piece of shit to other human beings, let alone women. And then, I felt like myself and so many other people included was like, all right, got it. Message received, message learned, message earned, And just understand that, like, with the examples of all these people, not everybody can just, dismiss horrible shit like that and expect it to just, like, go away, by just, like, not paying any attention to it, which is, like, most of these cases, by the way, that are people who are guilty by association, even as, like, Jonah Hill thing and whatnot with Justin Long, which also breaks my fucking heart too, because I'm like, dog, like I watched these fools all the way back from Accepted, and then thinking like I would hang out with these dudes, and then seeing all this shit, it's just like it's so wild to me. It's absolutely fucking wild, and like Chris D'Elia, and that was fucking weird too. It's just like And here's the thing. I'm not in support of any of these people, right? Like, I don't want it to get misconstrued here. Those dudes are fucking scum of the earth. They are really bad dudes. And I'm not going to go as far as to say that I'm ashamed of watching, Chris D'Elia back in the day, or, so many of these comedians are fucked up, along with the actors and whatnot who I really liked and everything. I thought Tusk was one of Justin Long's best. Does that I mean, I know it's a goofy ass fucking movie, but like, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was so, I mean, all of it is justified, right? But you would imagine that these dudes would get the fucking hint. That's the thing that blows my fucking mind. It's like, hey, don't hang out with people that are twice as young as you, or like more than like half your fucking age. It's just like, and also, why would you hang out with those people? Those are like petri dishes filled with diseases, kids. They're mouth breathing fucking weirdos. No offense to the kids. You shouldn't be watching this fucking podcast. God damn it. Get out of here. Go on, get. Yeah, I never fucking understand that at all. Once after high school, I mean, like, that's it. Those high school days are over, dog. I mean, it's like, it's not, everybody took the Days of Confused meme from Matthew McConaughey and just fucking ran with it. It is so weird. Like, who in their right mind? In your 30s? Actually, no. Like, there's much older than that. Yes, I did. I 100% picked my nose in camera, and I'm not going to cut it, dude. That is staying in. And to be specific, the inside of my nostril just fucking itches because I trimmed it. Dude, I've hit digression time. I am becoming more and more like my dad. Because, like, I always thought, like, dog, my dad is, like, he has, like, hairs coming from everywhere. But some not a lot as others. And one of them is nose hairs. I don't know if that's a Moroccan thing or what. But, like, the nose hairs are fucking crazy, dog. Like, I have a nose hair trimmer now. And that shit is good. But, like, once the hair starts growing, you just, like, it's like Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan in Night at the Roxbury. They're just like doing that when they like shave the inside of their nose. Shout out to that movie, by the way. It does not hold up, but it's still a fun ass fucking movie. Night at the Roxbury. Check it out, y'all. But yeah, I feel like I feel like with time you would understand as you get older that, hey, I probably shouldn't be hanging around a crowd like this, and I probably shouldn't be treating women like pieces of shit. Like, I don't understand it. I'm not trying to be like some woke king here. I promise you, I'm not. I am just like, it's that, I don't know where the quote is from. It's from some, maybe Hassan, who said that, I'm for women's rights and for women's wrongs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm for it, and I'm for calling a woman an asshole when she's being an asshole. You know what I mean? I'm an equal opportunity shit talk employer, dude. Because there's some people that just deserve it. There's, of course, great people. Of course. Women and men? Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of men who share the same sentiment, right? I feel like most of the time, if you take the median of all the citizens of the United States of America, it's pretty fucking normal, right? It's like, we don't want war. We don't want fucking, everybody be broke and poor for the rest of their lives. You get some sort of entitlement, some sort of income. that, it doesn't make you feel like you have to work 3 or 4 fucking jobs in order to just get your head above water. That doesn't make any sense, right? We're not here to talk about politics. Stop talking about politics, Adam. I'm trying. It's hard not to when you're just talking about cancel culture. God, I sound like my dad. It's crazy with the canceling and everything. I just think that it's a pretty cool era. I mean, I don't know if it's cool, but like we live in an era where accountability is everything, and that gives a heightened sense of paranoia to a lot of, I would imagine, people who make their living off the internet, which I understand, but also it's like, if you're not a piece of shit, you're not a piece of shit. If you know what you're doing is shitty, you probably shouldn't be doing that, or even if I will say though, I'm gonna try to word this as carefully as I possibly can. There are definitely times when people can have a civil discussion with other people that doesn't involve like just absolutely eviscerating each other. Instead of just, absolutely giving up on everything and even having a conversation with a Republican, right? Because they're against your ideals. I mean, I don't know. Like, I've worked with plenty. I'm friends with a few conservative mindset. Not as much as I mean, there's the exceptions, right? Like, there's the super reactionary MAGA people that are just like, you can't say anything to those people, right? Because they just, A, refuse to listen, and B, don't want to talk about it. Which, I'm sorry if that alienates a lot of people. And I'm not trying to, I mean, I guess I am casting stones, right? But I don't know. It's just like, don't be so hard pressed on some political figure that you feel like is the change that needs to come to this country, when those are the same people who don't give a shit about you in the first place, right? Whether or not you're Republican or Democrat, most of these politicians just truly, I mean, I don't know how to say it lighter than this, but like, they don't give a shit about us, And I think that it's a healthy and rational way of thinking, that instead of, because ultimately with these politics, it is easy to just draw the line in the sand, right? And it's very easy to just be like, oh, no, I do not associate with any of those people. That's on that side. I'm on my side. It's like, yeah, but are we really even having a discussion? It's just an echo chamber with other people who are, I guess, like-minded, right? Who can't challenge any idea. And if they do challenge an idea, well, then they're just, attacking your morals, which is kind of a silly thing to think, right? Like, you don't need to be defensive over people who, disagree with a certain thing, right? You're not a piece of shit. They're not a piece of shit. It's okay to disagree. It's okay for me to have opinions. But then it's like, it's weird because every time I bring it up, then it's like that thing in the back of my brain that is just like, Adam, shut up about the politics. It's like, but at the same time, it's not though. It's just it's the way of thinking. It's the way of approaching other people. I mean, look. Here's what I can say. Most people, right? Most people, I'd imagine, are very much in the middle of the road, right? When it comes to things and ideas and whatnot. Because there's plenty of people who I talk to who have the same mindset that are just like, I'll listen to everybody. And I don't mind. I grew up with a very, 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 very conservative mother, and I grew up with a pretty democratic, capitalistic, democratic father. And both of them neither of them are horribly wrong or super right. You know what I mean? I mean, half the time they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, right? Because it's mostly, and it's not their fault, because most of the time the news just fucking, here we go. We're talking about fake news, folks. Fake news. The controlling media, whatever. We don't need to get into it, but you know what I mean. It's just, take it with a grain of salt. And this is a perfect segue for the next thing I want to talk about, because I'm just so fucking great at segues, right? The thing of it all is there's always something we can fundamentally agree on, and even when it comes to rights of pay, you know what I mean? Like the strikes that are happening. To me, that's not a political thing, because think about it. It is about people, not just actors, but it's a point in history that we are currently in right now that can get other unions and maybe even start unions in respective corporations or media or whatever, retail, everything, service industry, starting a union or at least contributing better regulations and better rules and better pay for these unions is a step in the right direction, because everybody can agree to that. Even if you're a Republican, like you the capitalists can agree to this, because capitalists will say time and time again, it's better for people to have more money in their pockets than not. And I'm not a capitalist. I'm not. I don't even know what I am. I don't know. It's just I listen to everything and I like what I like my fashion, because today I'm feeling like a big fuck you day, and I want to pay homage to the man in black, Johnny Cash himself, just feeling it. But that's the thing though, right? It's like if we just stop and just pay attention for just once in a while and listen, it's almost like we kind of surprise each other, because most of the time on both sides we can agree on certain things. And I feel like with this strike, the actor strike, it feels like we can agree about this, right? Because it's about better pay. It's about getting a fairer wage that doesn't cripple you every single month and make you feel like you have to give up health insurance or just fucking not get paid and shit, And in fact, like getting residuals and whatnot, it's not about like, oh, it's just a shitty rider. It's just like, go get fucking better at riding, sweaty. Fucking, you're bad. Get better. It's like, it's more than that though. You know what I mean? It's like this shit fucking, it's grueling. You are in a writer's room or you're acting. You're doing this shit for 12 to 15 hours a fucking day, with like a couple of days off a week, maybe if you're lucky, a lot of people on their days off, it's like they're still fucking working, and I know you know what I'm talking about, because a lot of people do that all the fucking time. A lot of times, like most of these, like even working retail for 10 years, I can't tell you how many times in those breaks that felt like breaks. You know what I mean? Like having the weekend off, right? You get 2 days a week off. How can you have a break on a Thursday, right? And even if you had a break on a weekend, what do? You're just fucking horizontal until the next work week, or the next work schedule. Because it's just like, it's physically and mentally taxing on most jobs, especially if people have more than one job. And I think that's fucking stupid. And I feel like a lot of people agree. You know what I mean? Which I also think you know, a lot of people could agree that fucking microtransactions in video games are just a fucking nightmare. So this is the thing that I want to talk about. I don't understand. Like, I started playing Destiny 2 again recently, Destiny 2 Lightfall, and it's great. I'm actually having a really fun time because it's like, you know, I won't say it's amazing, but well, no, it's really fun though. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a really fun ass game. You jump in, you fucking kill a whole bunch of, bots or whatever, and then, you just like I'm not really into multiplayer experiences except for like maybe co-op, of course, but like, PvP I'm never really into. I used to. I was a big, OG Call of Duty Modern Warfare kid back in high school. Halo 3, same shit, But after watching Mudahar, Some Ordinary Gamers video on microtransactions, it definitely it got me thinking, because that's the thing that's holding most of these video games back, especially Destiny. Like, Destiny is so fucking fun because, like, anybody can really jump into it. And I'm horrible at games. I am the fucking worst at games. But when I play Destiny, you get better. You get better. You learn the controls better. There's a lot of features. But, like, that's the thing. It's like, when you first play the game, it feels overwhelming because there's so much shit happening, which shouldn't really be the case. Although I haven't really started a new character recently, so I don't know if that process is streamlined. I hope it is, but maybe not. I don't know. I just always thought those games were fun. And the thing that's holding it back the most, that bothers me to no fucking end, is microtransactions. It's the expansions. It's the fucking, the Modern Warfare character packs. It's the fucking, going all the way back to, remember Halo multiplayer map packs? Muda was talking about that in that same video, and it was just like, it fucking shot me back to, fucking Halo 3 days in the Xbox 360 when you had to use fucking Microsoft points in order to get map packs, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Map packs. Just something to just fucking strangle a kid over. You know what I mean? This poor fucking child who had to, like, gather up enough paychecks or enough allowance at the time. I don't even think I was working. Yeah, I was definitely not working. But, like, gathering up allowance to just, like, buy the fucking video game. And then a year later, it's like, oh, you want to play more of the game? Oh, you want to see these fucking sick-ass maps? Well, then give us $10 or 1,800 Microsoft points. And it's just like, that's like death to a fucking kid. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? And that was like the beginning of the end with these, microtransactions. Because ultimately, it's you're choking gamers of their fucking wallets every single fucking time. Like, video games now are $70. And I don't really have a problem with that as much as, like, I have a problem with the things within the game, right? With these microtransactions. And I never understood, talking about Halo Infinite first, and then we're going to talk about Destiny. With Halo Infinite, they're only cycling through like a couple of maps each time, and then they expect you to play, if you buy the Battle Pass, which is a fucking nightmare. Battle Passes are such a fucking... I mean, like, there's definitely an inside man who's fucking understanding that these Battle Passes are like fucking, you're giving crack cocaine to people who, it's like you give them a taste of crack cocaine and then you gave them enough to just be hooked on it. And then once you get to the end, then it's like, well, I mean, listen, if you got $20, fucking you can play more content if you want. And then we're like, okay, I mean, sure. And then you buy it, and then it's like, oh, are you going to invest 40 hours every week to dedicate to this fucking game? You know, it's like, no, bitch. Like, I got other games I want to play. There's other shit that we want to play. Which is why the first Destiny game was so fucking goated. Because you got everything. You had all the planets. You had everything. I don't remember if there was an expansion. And if there was, nobody paid attention to it, right? And Destiny 2 was supposed to be like, basically, okay, you got Destiny 2, and then you got all these fucking expansions. Forsaken, Beyond Light, all these fucking... And I think it was the Witch Queen that just got me out of the whole entire fucking thing. I think I was back for Beyond Light for a little bit, and then I was like, I can't. You know? There were several mistakes that Bungie made, or I guess Activision, who knows, that they made to just squeeze so much more fucking money out of something that you could have just made a brand new fucking game. You know, it's been a few years. Make a new fucking game. Even if it's, I don't care if it's the same shit. Give me more the new shit, the Lightfall shit. If you make that a new base game, right, with all of the, you know, expansions that are going to be coming out, just mush that into one fucking game. That's all you have to do. Now, I know I'm not really saying much that is like, you know, fucking, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying anything new, right? Like, people know this. If you're a gamer, you definitely know how fucking frustrating this is, right? And so what's the end game here? You know what I mean? To loop it all back to, you know, getting fair pay and the economy and the state of the country and its politics and its divisional fucking polarizing positions on everything, especially video games and microtransactions. Like, what the fuck do we do? What's the end result here? You know what I mean? Profit at all costs. I mean, yeah, you guys are doing that, but where's the cap? Is there a cap? Not really. Let's just make as much as we fucking can, you know? And I love Destiny. That's the thing. It's like, I still play Destiny. I'm back into Destiny very fucking heavily. And I know I'm sort of late to the game, but like digging up Destiny again because a buddy of mine started playing it and kind of left me in the dust for me to just play the game and just fall back into this addiction. I guess it's not much of an addiction. It's fun playing it again. It gives memories and, like, you know, there's something like relieving about it with Destiny. I enjoy it. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's just these expansions and microtransactions and all this shit is just like, it fucking sucks, dude. It's just like, and I can't, like, I'm not made of fucking money. Like, I'm like buying the Destiny expansion has kind of gotten me out of like a few other games that I probably could have played, right? But like, you know, in order to get the fucking, you know, the if you want to play the Lightfall campaign, if you want to know the previous campaigns, well, too fucking bad. You spend the $50 for the Lightfall campaign. Hey, Bungie, for fuck's sake. If I'm going to be spending $50 on a game that is an expansion that basically says, oh, it's going to be a whole reset of the base game, great. Then give me the access to the previous fucking campaigns, dog. Why am I spending another $10 fucking dollars to play what? 5 hours of gameplay? I don't know. It can't be more than that. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. Create a brand new base game. Get Destiny 3 on. Just fucking Let's just get this shit over with, you know? And then come back a couple years later, you know, and just fucking bring us a new one. And it's okay if some of these games are less cool than others. That's fine. You know, it was like the Halo thing. Halo Infinite was popping off until it wasn't. Like when you play Halo Infinite and then after a couple of days of playing it, you're like, okay. I guess it's just the Modern Warfare model. And just like, we're going to be playing these fucking 2-3 maps. Maybe. You know, I've had plenty of fucking gaming days where I'm playing 2 to 3 hours at a time. And I'm stuck with one fucking map between one game mode. How? How is that possible? There's so many people cycling through these maps. All you can give me is one of these maps out of, I think, like, it's got to be over 10 maps that are in Halo Infinite. But only in rotation, we only got these 1, maybe 2 maps. 3 if we're getting just fucking wacky with it. If we're switching game modes and whatnot. And I think a lot of the game modes are fun. But, like, again, this is for the nostalgia players like me who just love fucking just running up Slayer, you know? It's been a minute and I just want to run Slayer and then, you know, realize that, like, oh, I'm kind of wasting my time. I don't know why I'm playing this. And then I play Destiny where I'm spending fucking another $60 on content that ultimately, I mean, well, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. Lightfall is good, but give me access to the old shit. Why do I have to spend another $10 to just play a few hours worth of campaign just to understand the story a little bit? And I gave up. Like, I stopped. Like, I bought, I think I bought Witch Queen, and then I fucking stopped. I was like, this is too much. Because, like, I think one of it was there's a class ability, and I think you can only get it by paying for the expansion, which is like either Witch Queen or Beyond Light. I can't remember. That, like, gives you a whole other class ability. Meaning, like, you get like 3 class abilities per class. You know, between Titan, Warlock, and Hunters. And you get 3 of these abilities per class. Or per, I guess, whatever. Yeah, per class. And that's great. I love it. But why then I have to buy this expansion in order to get another class ability? Like, that just fucking melts my brain. Why the fuck do I have to worry about that? You know what I mean? And that's basically Lightfall. You kind of have to spend the $50, which, again, Bungie says is like, oh, we changed the base game completely. Okay, release another game. What are we doing? You're making a game that is just like, all right, yeah, we're doing it again, folks. Give us $50. Oh, cool. Are we gonna get access to the old quest? No. You have to spend another $20 if you want to unlock the other expansions, dummy. Because that's how it works. Microtransactions. Which is so weird to say, right? Like, it's so weird that it's called microtransactions when they're just essentially ringing your fucking wallet, you know? And also, it's even worse, too, that, like, because I still have the physical media for Destiny 2, and I also forgot how fucking rad physical media is. Because, like, I don't know if any kids are watching this, I hope not, but, like, man, nothing is better than just hearing the fucking the whir and the fucking, you know, spinning and the calibration you can hear when you pop in the cities, like, you know. I love that shit. It's like it gears me up. It prepares me. It's like, all right, here we go. Fucking, you know, new Metallica album, Saint Anger. Let's pop it into the boombox, right? First song plays, frantic, and you're like, the fuck is this drums? And then you realize through the entire Metallica album, it's the same fucking drums every single fucking time. it fucking pops your ears. It's like flicks your eardrum. God, such an uncomfortable album. I guess like, yeah. No. I was going to try to defend Saint Anger, but there's nothing to defend Saint Anger. If anybody understands what I'm talking about, go listen to Saint Anger by Metallica. You'll understand exactly why. Actually, do this. Listen to Saint Anger and then listen to Kill 'Em All and tell me if they're the same band or not. Because that shit is fucking wild, you know? It's like I'm all about growth, but Jesus Christ. It's like growth in the other direction. It's like an ingrowth. It's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, microtransactions just is like, it's so fucking stupid. I don't understand it. There's a lot that I've been thinking about in the last few days. Of course, I'm going to still watch movies and whatnot. And I want to do a better job in developing a schedule for this. So I might, don't hold me to it, but I think I'm going to do it, Tuesdays through Saturdays for now, at least, because the strikes are still happening. I'm not working as much as I want to. So we'll see once I start working again. Shit is just probably going to change, but hopefully I can give, podcasting shit, podcast episodes most of the days of the week, if not all of them. But I think I'll be biting off more than I can chew. So at least, one day off, maybe 2 days max, per week. But most of the days I'm going to be here, baby. It's just going to be me and the microphone the way it's always meant to be. And I know, I don't know if anybody, would enjoy the process of, watching me talk in front of a camera for an hour at a time. But for any of you who are watching this, thank you. I love this shit. This makes me happy the most because I look forward to this. And the reason why I wish I could do it every single fucking day is because I don't really get so much time to just decompress and really, engage with my thoughts in a way that I can do it in front of a camera that, gets me a little bit more comfortable with spouting out ideas and whatnot. Like this episode, just gone full politics. And I probably lost, if I had any audience, I lost them all. I'm kidding. No. The real ones, please stick around, I don't care, which political affiliation you're part of, Yeah, I do watch Hassan, but, I also watch Fox News too because, my mom is out of her mind and sometimes I will just watch whatever the fuck crazy shit is happening. Same with CNN, same with Al Jazeera, same with BBC, all sorts of shit. I'm watching everything, right? But I can only do so much, And most of the time I'm on Twitter, okay. Sorry, X. How long until that's going to be a stupid fucking comedy bit? Well, Elon changed Twitter to X. We're now going to be sending zeets instead of tweets now. God, please, just fucking nuke X, nuke Twitter, nuke it all. Tear it down, start over again. Please. Because honestly, I'm debating whether or not I should just stick the podcast with Threads or with Twitter. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to want to be able to do both for a long ass time. I hope not. But I mean, listen, I got to get the podcast out as far as I possibly can because, I enjoy this shit a lot and I want more people to listen to it. But I mean, fuck's sake. That place stinks. X fucking stinks, dude. I'm exhausted every single time I'm on it. It's it ruins my morning the moment I wake up. But for some reason, my dumb lizard brain goes, X. All right, let's see what the fuck is happening. You know? Which I'm just getting sick of. I'm just, yeah, I don't know. Because but the recommendations in my newsfeed is just all sorts of whack nowadays, you know? But I will say, once I start getting news from threads, that's it. It's game over for X. So if the Zuck can get it together and, you know, I guess create an app that's a good enough news aggregate to the level of Twitter in some instances, and if you could bring people and have it, you know, accessible, I don't know, it could work. It could work, but also I don't know, you know. I'm some more manipulator. Oh God, more manipulator updates. I'm starting a new draft because I'm getting a few notes from people, and I'm very excited to start this new draft. I basically started the new draft, and I just basically like looked at my notes and just turn off my computer. Like I had one window of the notes, and I was reading them. I'm like, all right, this looks great, awesome, great. And then I looked at my script, and I'm like, I gotta make a sandwich. And I just shut my computer off and just fuck off and make a sandwich. I mean, I do work on it and whatnot. I just don't, you know, I haven't been working on it as much as I wanted to. And lately I've just been trying to, you know, gather as much notes as I possibly can from friends and people who are writers and who are filmmakers in the industry to give me feedback on the script, which, you know, I want to be able to hopefully get the script out there. I don't know where to. I mean, I know I got to pitch it to somebody, right? I know I got to go find managers, I guess, or agents and see, you know, who and what studios are willing to, or production companies should say, that would, you know, want to get my lofty ass idea, you know, my lofty script, fucking made, you know, and hopefully I'll get it made. It's just such a process, you know, and that's the thing that they don't really tell you after writing is like, once you finish a script, it's like, okay, great, get eyes on it, you know, and then chase those people for notes, you know. And I will say too, I kind of learned my lesson about giving my script to certain people that probably you shouldn't give your script to. I mean, okay, let me take a step back. It's always good to get feedback from as many people as you can who aren't really involved or privy to the idea of what your script is really about. It's much easier and just a little better to just like give them a script just cold, whoever your friends are, who are willing to read it. That's the key. They are willing to read it. Now, there's a lot of people who say that they are willing to read it and they don't. And that's, I mean, you know, everybody has a life, right? You can't just chase everybody down, you know, who hasn't read your script and just bother them every single fucking day, because people got lives too, right? Like everybody's got work, everybody's got jobs. You gotta, you know, you gotta make your fucking money somehow. Your script's gonna be, it's gonna have to come at the end of the day or a weekend kind of thing, you know. So the notes that you get are gonna come in script is gonna have to come in staggerous ways. So you're gonna get a slow week here, you're gonna get a slow week there. Shit is just gonna be all over the place. So yeah, giving notes or getting notes, I should say, is kind of a whole art form in of itself, because there's certain people who you should definitely give, like, I definitely have people who are writers and who are really good at what they do. Of course, they're not WGA, they're not union, they're, you know, these are just friends of mine who also love movies and stuff, who I work with, some of them. And they just, want to read it for the love of filmmaking and stuff, and storytelling. And those are the people you want to really get your opinions on. And every single opinion matters, even for people who, who don't really understand scripts, and somebody like gives you back notes that you don't really expect, or that you don't really know what to get from it. Like, there's certain people who are like, yeah, the pacing is just really weird, or like the pacing is just off. And I try to avoid shit when I'm reading other people's script. I try to avoid shit like that because it's very hard to explain pacing, especially when it comes to like a movie that's supposed, or a script that's supposed to be a slow burn. The thing that I'm looking for is, are the characters engaging? Is the plot make sense? Do your characters, have their journey within the plot? And does it make sense for the plot and what their decisions are and how they, make them, and how they change by the end of it? Or maybe they just don't change at all, which is also great. But again, it depends on what the circumstance of the script is between the characters and how they react to the world and not react to the world, because also what is not being said is very important, in the timeline of which you're trying to tell your story. If you have a story that's being told in one perspective of time and you cut to a different perspective of time, when you get to the third act or like the end of the movie and it's like 5 months later, and then it's like the aftermath of the events of what happened and whatnot, you really want to be careful with that, because ultimately it's about the characters and that world. So once you change the world, or at least the period of that world, the characters should also change. You know what I mean? And the dialogue and the setup and all that like should make up for that lost time, right? So, it doesn't feel like a massive time jump that doesn't feel warranted or at least earned. And you jump in time and it just, you walk away more confused than anything, and that's kind of like the thing with like a lot of people, because a lot of people who aren't writers, at least screenwriters, it's hard to get an accurate description or an accurate perspective on what they read, because sometimes they just don't even know what to say. There's just some people who read the script and like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, there's some people who are like, yeah, this script is not for me. And there's definitely a script I wrote before. It's more of a short story, but there's definitely a short story that I wrote. And I that was like one of the notes that I got back was like, I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know what is happening here. And instead of being like, well, you just don't fucking know storytelling. What do you mean? It's like, of course you can ask for specifics, but like, if they can't give any, or it's still left a little bit more ambiguous than you wanted it to be, instead of just honing in on that person and their notes, try looking at it in their perspective and read it back as if, because once you read it back and you get those notes, especially those notes that are just so fucking what feels innocuous, that once you read your script, it will almost every single time come at you after you get those notes, right? So once you read back through and you're like, oh, I think that's what they're talking about, is this, and this. When it comes to pacing and whatnot, or the vibes are off, or it doesn't feel right. Those kinds of notes, those are also very helpful. Any notes is very helpful. That's why, like, I think it's very cool to send scripts to people who are writers and who are absolutely not writers. who are just like, who probably very few seldom read scripts, or are aware of scripts, but like don't really pay much attention to them other than that, like, it could be an interesting read, and those are the kind of people that you definitely want to read your script, because ultimately they're going to be the ones that will give you the thumbs up or the thumbs down, right? Every single thing, even in all the way as far as to the end where the test screening goes, once you shot everything and you edited and all that shit, you do the test screenings. That is your last chance at writing, to make whatever changes you need to make in that script. Because then you're going to probably watch the movie with others and realize, oh, I don't know if that makes any sense. Or like, I was expecting a reaction from this and there was none. Okay, well, I think I got to go back and see what I can twist up, or see what I need to take out, or maybe even add in, God forbid, because, reshoots, and that's a fucking nightmare, and that's a lot of money too, by the way. A lot of people think that's like, oh, just whenever if there's a problem in the editing room, they could just, go ahead and just call up the actors and say, hey, let's do it again. Let's just pick up another day. It doesn't work that way. You're going to need to get a production company involved. You're going to get all this shit. It's basically like you have to do a speedrun version of pre-production and production and post when you do reshoots. So reshoots are something you definitely want to avoid. ADR, I mean, I don't know if they have the same vein, but yeah, it's kind of also the same shit in a way. There's that one line that could easily connect one point or one piece of dialogue to the next, or to another scene, or calling back another scene, whatever it is. Sometimes you just don't see it until it's right then and there. I mean, they went as far as to like, Oppenheimer, like Chris Nolan had to get Robert Downey Jr. back to do ADR because it wasn't that like, oh, the line was flubbed, or oh, the take wasn't as good as he wanted it. No, it's just like there was a previous draft of that same script that connected one thought or one piece of dialogue that seamlessly goes with another thought or dialogue. And even people like Chris Nolan understands the importance of getting your story correct and getting the story right, even if that means calling upon the most expensive fucking actor in Hollywood, one of the most expensive actors in Hollywood, to come into a voice booth and just say a couple of lines and then fuck right off, and get paid for the day. There's just always a chance at getting that story better. But you want to get that story in front of people who appreciate stories, who love stories. Don't put it in front of people who watch reality shows most of the time, and can't really give any feedback on a script. Probably don't give it to your grandma who has a, hard time even understanding where the fuck they are in the first place. You know what I mean? Just like give your script to people who, gives a shit about storytelling and want to give a shit about your story to tell. And, that's basically about it. I got nothing left in the fucking tank. We're almost an hour and 10. Goodness gracious. I just had so much to say. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back hopefully next time. If there is a next time. No, I'm kidding. Of course I'm going to be back next time. And yeah, keep watching movies. I guess there's never a good way to sign off on this other than bye.